Good evening, creatures of the night, and welcome back to another episode of Spooky Tales. I'm your host, Reese Bowling, and today's episode is brought to you by Spooky's Fright Night Halfway to Haunt.
Patient 6, the doctor will see you now. See you now. Patient 6.
I'm here with Sidney Stanley of Hidden Intuition here in Monroe, Michigan.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for joining us.
Of course. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your shop, Hidden Intuition.
So back in 2020, I was in college and kind of was looking for a job to do. I had just quit one job that I had that I just didn't like. And my mom had a massage therapist who had access to an old shop that was retired and shut down, and he gifted it to us, and that's where this started. So we're a full-blown metaphysical shop: crystals, incense, candles, herbs, pretty much anything you can think of or anything you're looking for we can find.
So how would you describe to someone a metaphysical shop if they don't know what it is?
So you can consider it witchy or any sort of belief that isn't just like your average religion-based belief. It's non-denominational, basically. So, and it can even go further. It's holistic healing, Reiki, massage therapy, anything in that nature that's not just any sort of organized belief system.
So what sort of services do you offer?
Right now, we're organizing our tarot situation. We're struggling to find tarot readers, so eventually that'll be a service. We do Reiki. We have meditation nights. We're going to be having yoga nights. We do we do tea leaf readings and anything else. I mean, there's hundreds of things that we're trying to bring in.
And when were you first introduced to the metaphysical?
So the house I grew up in was an old funeral home, a retired funeral home. So from as young as I can remember, there was spiritual sightings or situations where, as a kid, I would get scared and my mom would hand me a crystal. And at the time it was a black tourmaline, which is a protective stone. And it made me feel better. So, I mean, as long as I can remember, I've been surrounded by metaphysical, spiritual, anything.
And do your parents still live in that house?
Yeah. I even still live in that house right now. So, yeah.
So, and there are spirits still there?
Absolutely. Yeah. Our basement is actually made out of limestone, which contains energy really well, and it's really hard to get it out. So, but now it's less spooky, more just, they're there. So.
And I remember you told me and Andrew McGowan that your building is haunted, correct?
Yes.
So how many spirits would you say you think there are there?
At one point I thought there was only one. And then after we did our ghost hunt and then we just sitting in there, I'm saying at least 3 to 5. We're still figuring it out.
Mm-hmm. And so with that, because you told us that the building used to be the old Greyhound bus station. Yeah. So do you think that all that energy, hundreds, possibly thousands of people going in and out of that place, do you think that has something to do with it?
Oh, absolutely. Every single place you go into or that someone goes into, they're imprinting energy into. So whatever they're carrying, parts of that are being left in those places. And with how many people were going in and out, I mean, there's no way that they didn't affect how many people are lingering around. So,
do you feel any of the spirits in your shop are malevolent?
I didn't until we did our ghost hunt, and now a little bit. I think a lot of it, I don't necessarily know if I would say malevolent, but angry would be the best way to put it, or, confused, which comes off as angry and uncomfortable. So
I remember when we did, when I was doing the Estes method, I was telling Andrew, I said, I don't know if this sounds crazy or not, but when I had the blindfold on, I could still see you guys.
Yeah.
And I said, but right behind you was a giant black figure.
Yeah.
And when you were talking, he was telling you to be quiet.
Yes.
He was like, shh, be quiet.
That was, that was, and I was right in front of the door, so I was like,
With a darker spirit or an angry spirit, how would you say you could protect yourself with that?
It depends. So obviously there's like house cleanses that are always an option, but those aren't always the easiest to obtain. The best way I would do it is carry a black tourmaline with you or use essential oils that are known to be protective. And just kind of keep a positive mindset. You know, your mindset's everything, and what you accept is what you're allowing in. So, you know, when you're sad or upset, angry or uncomfortable spirits can have an easier way to attach to you or get to you. So staying positive is always going to be your like number one defense.
And I have some friends who they charge their crystals.
Yeah.
How do you charge those?
So a lot of people charge under moonlight. That works really well. Meditating with your crystals, doing yoga with your crystals, incense, sound bowls. The one thing to avoid, though, is charging by sun, especially if it's like an amethyst or a clear quartz. Amethyst, you're going to lose your color really, really quick in direct sunlight, and clear quartz, especially if it's a sphere, will literally start fires if the sun hits it right. So you don't want to do it in the sun. Just, you know, anything else, really. Anything that puts energy into it.
And besides the sun, would you say there's a way to like overcharge a crystal?
I've never experienced it. The most that's ever happened is I've left a stone out like under a full moon or something, like in a windowsill, and then I left it there for way too long, and then the energy kind of feels dull or like just like not, you didn't put anything into it. It's just been sitting there. So I feel like they just kind of, it wears down over time.
And are there benefits to wearing crystals like a bracelet or a necklace?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you have a stone on you, that energy is going to consistently affect you throughout the day. That's why we have little, like, satchel bags that you carry. Like, we put your stones in. That way they're easy to grab and just throw in your pocket, throw in your bag, throw in your car. Instead of just sleeping with it with you, it's with you all the time. So, and that energy is with you all day long.
Are there, because I know they have bracelets and necklaces, are there other ways to wear crystals, like in rings or anything like that?
Yeah, I wear crystal rings all day long. I know some people do earrings. We're working on getting, like, septum rings or nose rings right now because I think they're cute. Pretty much anything. I mean, any type of jewelry we could probably turn into something with a crystal in it.
Nice. And what prompted you to move downtown?
That's where I always wanted to be. That's where I feel like the shop should have been from the get-go. When we first opened, we were rushing because COVID was about to hit, and we didn't know, no one knew at the time, because we got the shop in, like, February of 2020. So we were just looking for a place to put it and settle it down and just get it open. So there was a spot on Telegraph that we found, and we just rushed through it. I mean, if you looked at the paint job or anything that was actually behind the scenes of that, it was all so rushed. So the spot I initially wanted was the spot we're in right now. But most of our people followed, and we've ended up with way, way more than we had on Telegraph. So it's been super cool.
And besides crystals, what other products do you offer?
Beside crystals, we have incense. We have, it's a Detroit brand incense that's all handmade, and then we just carry your regular Satya brands, singing bowls, bags, tote bags.
And what are some of your more popular products with customers?
Right now our tumbles are doing really well, just tumbled stones. I started doing crystal confetti, like a monthly themed crystal confetti, and that's doing really well. And honestly, our jewelry, my mom finds a lot of antique rings and bracelets. So people are really liking those too.
What do you enjoy most about owning your own business?
I would say the time, like the free time you get, but you don't really get any free time because you're constantly coming up with new ideas or a new sale to run, new days to be open, new events. I like being in control of my schedule, though. I like knowing that when I come home, I can do what I want to do, and I have the freedom to decide what my work day looks like. I don't have to worry about, necessarily, answering to a boss or responding to a boss's wishes. It's just, you have to be self-managed which is really hard, and you have to know how to time manage on it. It's hard, but it's worth it.
Nice. And with your building being haunted, when we were doing our investigation and with the spirit talker and the necrophonic, was there any sayings or anything that stood out during that?
When I believe it keep saying like go away or like leave, stuff like that stuck out just because of how much it was repeated. And like you do kind of feel like a push, like especially at night, not during the day, but like when you're there alone at night, you do feel kind of like there's like an energy pushing you out of the building, which is something that, you know, ever since we did it, I've been trying to like kind of push forward and be like, okay, like this isn't like a welcoming presence. And then just the knowing our names, even though I don't know. So a lot of it stuck out to me, but those two definitely were the most that stuck out.
And so the vibe changes at night with when the lights are off and things like that.
And now that the sun's going down later, I've noticed it's happening more around like 9 or 10 o'clock at night rather than like 7 or 8. But the second it gets dark outside, it's like just a completely different store.
Now, I know some investigators, they do an all-night investigation.
Yeah.
Would, if you ever had the opportunity to, like, stay overnight at Hidden Intuition, would you?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I would love to do that. I just wouldn't do it alone.
And when all the lights are out and, you know, there's no sound or anything, would you say one spirit comes forward or, like, multiple?
It feels like one, but that's not to say that there's not a whole bunch of them standing behind that one that's like egging that energy on. Mm-hmm. I would say at least 3 to 4 are the ones that are wanting everyone out, not even just me, our upstairs neighbors, the conservatory, everyone. Mm-hmm. So. And
besides you, has anyone else experienced anything in the shop?
My mom, her stuff goes missing all the time, like completely. We still have not found some of the things that have gone missing, and it's like I'm sitting right there, I can see it, we turn around, it's gone, and then we just never see it again. My mom doesn't feel pushed out, but she's not there late at night, and then one of my employees, he doesn't want to close, so we close at 7. He'll stay until 6:30, and then he's like, I'm out, like, you gotta come in here, so I think he's noticing something, but he doesn't want to say he's noticing something. So,
have you ever felt one of the spirits follow you home?
No, but I think that's because my house is so full already. It's like at capacity. So,
if you could say anything to the spirits, like especially the ones that are like leave or get out or that force like pushing you out, what would you say?
Honestly, I would just ask why, and like. Do you mean like as like a conversation? Like,
like if you've got to see them and sort of figure out, you know, like who they are, why they're there.
Okay. Yeah. I would ask them why they want us out and I do home cleanses. So part of what I do is figuring out why they want us gone. And most of the time it's because that at one point in time was their space or their favorite place. And they're confused. So trying to, you know, remedy the confusion and allow them to pass forward would be my ultimate goal.
When you were moving in, do you think when you were moving in and like moving things around, sort of lack of a better word, like renovating the building?
Yeah.
Do you think that could have like upset them in any way?
I think so, yeah, because we didn't do a lot of like huge renovations, but changing paint colors and, you know, taking things off the wall that have been there for years, or even like we fixed our door, which is like I believe it's the original door on the building, and, you know, stuff like that. Anything can carry a spirit on it. So I think maybe remedying that and fixing that was kind of like a, whoa, you can't touch that, you know. So I think it did at least wake up some of the energy that's probably been there for a really long time.
Because I know you have the main storefront and then you have the area where you said you were going to do like tarot and things like that.
Yeah.
Do you think there's like a per se hotspot for the spirits?
Definitely the room that we were in, that purple room. Mm-hmm. I think that's a hotspot, and the really long hallway that leads to my bathroom is super. I mean, we didn't do anything in there. I haven't like noticed anything per se, but the energy shift from where my stock is to where the back room starts is noticeable.
Mm-hmm. And have you experienced anything in like, because I know you have the 2 mirrors in your bathroom, correct?
Yeah.
So I know they say mirrors especially, they're like portals. So would you say you've experienced anything with the 2 mirrors in the bathroom?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But I'm trying to find a way to get those to not point in the same direction. Mm-hmm. But
if they point, both of the portals sort of conflict with one another.
Yeah. So, but I am wondering if maybe that's allowing like an entry and exit type situation for some of the spirits that are in there. So we're figuring it out.
Have you ever thought about doing, when you said you do home cleansing, mm-hmm. have you ever done like a cleansing for your store?
I do some form of cleansing every month, at least once a month. If not, honestly, once every 2-ish weeks, just because the amount of people that come in, they're touching the stones, their energy's rubbing off on the stones. So we try to do at least 1 to 2 a month, just to, reset everything and get it back to completely normal. So.
And where can we find you at?
I'm at 17 West 1st in Monroe, Michigan, and I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and I think that's it.
Nice. Make sure to give her a follow to stay up to date on everything. She's great.
Thank you.
Her business is great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us.
Of course, thank you.
And that concludes this week's episode of Spooky Tales. Join us next week for another fantastic episode. Until then, I wish you all a very spectacular night.